let's say I'm seeking the light, and I go to somebody who's a spiritual teacher, and I say, you know, I love music. Tell me what I could listen to in order to manifest my reality. They would tell me, listen, stay away from that mother effing hip hop. That shit there is not going to get you where you need to go. That hip hop is the degenerate. Black, white, whoever would tell you that.
Well, yeah.
What? Let me finish this, Seven. But what I find is that we got somebody like Michael Phelps, the all-time winner of gold medals in the Olympics. He's sitting there. I think this was in 2015. Has on his headphones, wireless headphones, zoned out. He's about to swim, do his thing, zoned out. After he wins all the gold medals, they say, Michael Phelps, what was you listening to? He says, I was listening to Future. At that time, Future had Dirty Sprite 2 out. What was on Dirty Sprite 2? I just fucked these bitches and some Nike flip and some Gucci flip flops. I had them lip locked, some shit like degenerate shit, degenerate lyrics.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. But this is what Michael Phelps was listening to before he went on to become the greatest swimmer of all time. So we have our people telling us, don't listen to certain hip hop because it's horrible for us. It is ruining our youth. But we have another so-called race that's listening to the same thing, winning gold medals. Sometimes this shit don't make sense.
Here's what I say though, because it's kind of it's layered. Like what you're talking about is layered. See, what's happening with him is he's tapping into the engineering. He's tapping into Pan's flute underneath the tones.
Who's him? Wait, who's him? When you say
you're talking about Phelps. I'm telling you what is this engagement like? He's tapping into the engineering. He's tapping into the flutes that are put on the bottom of these tracks that entrain the brain in order to actually get into the flow.
Yes.
But he does not associate with that message. There is nothing about that message that at all triggers in his mind that this is the lifestyle that I'm living. So the difference is that when you put that stuff in the ears of our youth, they don't just tap into the flow. It opens up also the part of their brain where they feel like that's the life that they're supposed to live. Yes. So if you check out Micah Brown's work, though, just to understand, like, because I don't have any enemies. You see what I mean? So the reality here is it's understanding. What you have to do is look at what happens when the mind and the consciousness gets into a flow is that the brain, this is what happens even when people are around each other. That's why I used to have these hip hop battles and all that, because the brains actually start to, just like in a conversation, they start to sync up with each other.
Yes.
And then we start to basically be able to predict what a person is going to say next, especially if we are always in a cipher or a session with them. Okay, this is Micah Brown's work. He's laying this out. He's got the EMF, the EMG machine and everything on to show you what's happening as he's going in the flow. But what's most important about this is to remember what our origins are. The reason why we know phonetics so well, and the reason why they connected the Phoenicians into what was going on in Kemet, is because when spells are happening or rituals, this same flow is happening, but it's happening with us using the ancient tongue and the chant, okay? Then we start flowing into this knowledge, and what this does, into this awareness, not knowledge. We start flowing into this awareness that starts to predict what's going to happen next or what's going to be said next. So we start unlocking and opening up this code. And because there's several people in this circle doing this or in this ritual doing this, certain minds will basically go into auto. So it's like the brain will keep thinking, but you don't need to use it. Hence the flow. The rap god can do this, right? So then when this starts happening, this utterance begins to occur, especially those who have an active third eye, using the proper language, you can see the language. You can see what it's producing. So it's like you're seeing into the future because the brains sync up and show you. It's like it's a form of time travel for us to be able to not only see the future, but actually create the future. And now this is why this could become so dangerous if it's actually in the hand of guys like the OTOs, Rick Rubin, and the Freemasons, such as the guys that you see that are using these things. And it's just because, are you going to use this? And this is a simple question. For service to self, so you can Elevate yourself. That's why they always have it's the cult of Akhenaten. It's infecting the minds. Are you going to elevate yourself with this knowledge? Only teach your engineers. You remember Puffy is an engineer. That's how he got in there. He's a number 4. He's Rahu. He knows technology. So that's why he was able to survive, because it was all about the computer, the engineering, the beat. And then when a real beat master, like if you look at what's out right now, because now it's at its height, now it's out of the box. Now they're basically, it's almost like if I use the secret, the next guy is going to be that knows the secret and be like, well, shit, he used the secret. I'm about to use more of the secrets. And what happens with this, though, is like the same thing that happened with the TV. Once they started tapping in the cathode ray tubes, which are the hexagrams, and started understanding how to program people through commercials and stuff, some people went too far real fast. And you still have their song to that commercial in your mind. There's thousands of them, because they opened the holiest of holies. They found the knowledge that it takes to Pan's lyre. Truly, who's Pan? That's bees, right? This is like to truly lock in to the rhythmic tones. You tap into the ancient elements of the earth and the vibrations that actually have the utterances of the creation. This is called the creatress, or the mistress of speech. This is the Nomo. Okay, this is the Syrians, the ones who say, and it is. You know what I mean? The ones that have the words that don't come back void. This is why they call their knowledge the lost word. Their shit barely works. But for us, if we locked into what we really can do with this power, when we're understanding, like this term, even rap, is a reference to a rapier, which is a certain kind of predatory bird. And many of our ancestors in Alkebulan, in their transition, became rapiers. Okay? Like when the transition happened, because this is all a part of from gas to liquid to solid, that same stuff you see, that's real metaphysics. So there's a transition of the souls through the bodies, especially if you go down a couple rungs, just like the Hindus and many others I've already been proficiently explaining to everybody. You go into an animal body because you don't have enough soul force left to actually animate a human body. So you'll go into what would be what you would consider a lesser vessel. And what lesser vessels are is training wheels. You move more on instinct. See, right now, your instincts can be controlled. This is why the real Tibetans, the real lamas, they teach you how to control your instincts. Because once you can get mastery all over your instincts, you can hit nirvana, because the elements won't actually have an effect over you. So this is a process of training that, as I said, just because we want this to be over, if you want it to be over, then come out of judgment. And if you don't, stay in judgment and see how long it actually takes. You'll learn so many things, but you'll actually end up still at that spot until you, and that's will be when you get complete.